Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 63rd lesson of A Course in Miracles. And I am so happy, y'all, about our guest today. The 63rd lesson of A Course in Miracles states, "The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness." And today, everyone, I am elated to welcome our guest today, who has the brightest light and engaging presence, even in the face of a daunting cancer diagnosis. She still lighted the world with her unbelievable knowledge that everything would be just fine. Best-selling author Susie Pearl experienced a profound NDE while in the hospital and has been a high-level coach for over 20 years. And she is here today, y'all, to share her incredible journey. Susie, welcome to the sharing group. We are so excited to have you, and I know that you have much to share, so you may begin with your NDE and we can go from there.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Loretta, for that lovely intro and for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And it's interesting that today's lesson is on forgiveness. I have a lot to say about forgiveness, which I'll go into. So a few years ago, it was only about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with brain cancer. And it was a very large thing in my head, and it was inoperable. It was in the middle of my brain. So the doctor said, "It's not looking good. You've got about 3 weeks to live. Get your affairs in order. Write a letter to your son, the last letter, and really prepare. So that was a huge diagnosis to receive, and everyone around me was in shock because they felt like they were going to lose me. And it was only me and my son knew that I was in for the long run. I had no intention of leaving. And thankfully, here I am today, alive and kicking all these years later. Yay! So I was in hospital and I began to meditate. I was praying, meditating, and doing a lot of work connecting with the big life force, the source of all that is. And I started to meditate, and I had this feeling that I had this information that I was going to die today. And I told my nurse, she was very lovely, and she went, "Susie, we've got you. It's all right. Don't worry." I said, no, I'm not worrying. I'm just telling you, please keep an eye on me. So I sat on the edge of my bed, and as I did so, I felt my spirit wanting to leave my body. And I had this experience where my spirit came through and up and out the crown of my head, like it was being sucked out on a vacuum. And I felt myself lift out of my body. And I wasn't frightened because I trusted. I have great trust in life and in death, as it turns out. I trusted. So I wasn't frightened. And I left my body and I went up to the other realm. And I saw a lot of things. I learned so many things when I was up there. And I was asked, do I want to come back into my body? I said, yes, I have a young son who needs me. And I was delivered back into my body with a white flash of light. And in that process, the thing that was in my head got sorted out. There was no scarring. I had an MRI scan straight afterwards. And the doctor said, we don't understand it, but the tumor has gone and there's no scarring. This looks like a miracle. And we don't have words to kind of really explain this because we're not in the business of miracles. And I smiled and said, that's interesting because I am. That is my business, being in miracles. And I believe in miracles. So it was a miracle healing, according to the medics. According to me also, I was very blessed. And as I went into the scanner, Loretta, they told me I had a visitation from angels, and they told me I would have 3 scans. One would be terrible. The second one, and a lot to worry about. The second one, it would shrink, and the third one, it would be clear. And that is exactly what happened to me. The first one, the doctors were really like, no, this isn't looking good. The second one, it was like, oh, it's better, surprisingly. Third, we can't believe that it's gone. And when I came back into my body, I came back with no fear, with absolute faith about what I'm doing here. And the angel said, you're chosen for this big storyline because you're a writer, because you're a communicator, and you have a really lovely platform to speak to people. And we want you to inspire, you write a book and a film and inspire many people around the world in that you can heal yourself. And I knew that, and I believed that, and I am living proof of this. And they gave me a really tough storyline. It wasn't just like a broken arm or something simple. It was in here, the very difficult part of the body. So I experienced this wonderful feeling, and I came back with a different perspective of the world, much more love. I've always been loving and kind, I would hope, but loving kindness, forgiveness. I had someone I had to forgive, someone in my family. I had been at war with them, and I thought it could never be resolved. This person came into my hospital room when they thought I was dying. Everyone else thought I was dying. And we spoke, and I forgave. And in that moment, that was healed. And this was a healing, Loretta, I thought was never going to happen. Wow. And it did, like this. So I healed myself. I healed our problem. Mm-hmm. And I learned that healing and being forgiving to others, whatever they've done, we come with compassion. We do not know what people have gone through. We do not know their history, the systemic issues in their family, in their generations, what they may have gone to. But fundamentally, we are human to human. And when we get into our hearts and we speak from our hearts, that is truth. And that is infinite possibility that we have to heal. And when we heal ourselves, we're healing the collective, of course, because we are all one. This is the really strong message I got. We are one. It's not you and me. It's one whole system. So I learned that it's important to have faith, to have trust that all is well. And whatever happens in life, there is always an outcome that is for the best and the highest. And we may not be able to see that. We may have a picture this big, but in the big story of life, there is always a really good angle in anything. And I teach my son, and I speak about when a door closes and we might go, oh no, that's a shame. It's not a shame. It is what it is, and it is all perfect. And we will maybe see much later down the road that was ideal that happened. So having trust that all is well, trusting in the bigger force of life, respecting the bigger force of life, and honoring our friends, our community, and our family. This is hugely important. I learned this when I was ill. My whole community and my family came together, and it's a really valuing our friendships and our people we love and being present for them. In this time that we are all living in, there is so much distraction. There are so many screens. There are so many things and films to watch, places to go. Slow it down. Slow down so that you can smell the coffee. You can live your life with awareness and with presence, and being present with whoever you're with. So when I came back in, well, another thing that happened really, there is only now. That's another thing I learned. It's only now. There's no past and future, really. It's all now. So be present now. And these are the kind of things that I learned. And I think if we all really have a look at the truths of life, we can all live more happily on this planet together and be more loving and kind and compassionate to each other. And by so doing, we make this planet and this earth and this lifetime so much more pleasurable for everyone.
Thank you so much for that, Susie. Thank you for sharing that dynamic experience. Some of what you have said, I've heard you talk about how we place ourselves in boxes and that we are in, we limit ourselves. Can you talk a little bit about how we can break away from the limitations of our beliefs?
Sure. Well, we all come packaged with a load of beliefs that we may have picked up in our childhood, in our environment, in our society, in our culture. It doesn't really matter where it comes from, but it's good to acknowledge that we have beliefs are driving this bus somehow. If we believe money is difficult, it will be. If we believe love is difficult, or whatever the belief system are, we will play that out. So it's good to notice what's popping up in your world. And often we have repeating patterns. Oh, I never have enough, or oh, I always have bad relationships. Well, it's only you in the room. There isn't anyone else here. So whatever we're facing, notice, acknowledge, bring that up for healing. Have a look at it. What are my beliefs around this? And really spend some quiet time. The quieter we get, that's why prayer, meditation, quietness, walking in nature, all these kind of things, not only connects us to God, but it also allows us to go deep inside ourselves, to identify what our beliefs are, what may need shifting. And the good news is that we can shift our beliefs. The first stage of shifting your belief is noticing it, noticing what your belief is. And you can test it because it will keep recurring time and time again. You have friends who are always talking about something similar, patterns that are happening in their life. It's rare that it happens as a one-off. There'll be patterns and it will happen regularly and they'll be sick of it and da-da-da-da-da. Well, notice that. Bring your attention to that and ask oneself, what is it? What part of me needs to heal? What do I need to forgive, perhaps, in another person? Often a parent or a sibling or someone connected to us in the family, perhaps. What is it that needs healing? And once we give that person our forgiveness, give that person our love unconditionally, then we can get on this road to healing, and we can get on this road to busting unhelpful beliefs.
I love that. I love that you said that, Susie. It's actually very consistent with the principles of A Course in Miracles, that really all there is us, is our inner universe. And so our experience of everyone else comes from what's within us. And so delving into what needs to be healed and reshaping our thoughts and our beliefs is absolutely resonant with me. Something else that you have talked about that I don't want to miss. I love that you have been intentional in creating space for creativity. I know that creativity is something that, we've kind of been conditioned to not give a lot of time and energy to. You should get to work, you should do something that's productive. But tell us how creativity raises the vibration. Tell us what you learned in that space, and tell us about some of the people you worked with in the realm of creativity.
Sure. Well, the last book I wrote, The Art of Creativity, was all about the creative process. And what I learned was, one, creativity is healing. It's a healing process. It takes us closer to God. Flow is when we are in the space where time goes by. We don't know, you just get immersed. And that is getting into the source channel. It's immensely healing, soothing, blissful, joyful. When you're dancing like you don't care who's watching, if you're painting, you love it, it doesn't matter what it turns out like. This is experience the spirit meeting the heart. This is where we get joyful. And as we have our kids in school, it can get knocked out of us. I was told many times at school, you're a terrible writer. I'm now the published author of many books. And I write a lot. I'm writing a new book at the moment. I am a great writer. And I was told when I was young, I was a horrible writer. Who to believe? And as a little girl, I'm going to believe my teacher. So we have to knock out those negative expressions. I've ended up working with a lot of wonderful geniuses and celebrities. I've worked with Michael Jackson, with Madonna, with the Spice Girls, with lots of A-list film actors and so on, David Bowie and George Michael. Had a wonderful time. All these people who are geniuses in their fields understand the power of creativity. They show up. They got pushed back, rejected, told they were no good at some points. Everyone has a story. When you start talking to these people, they've had rejection after rejection after. All the great people I know who are great artists have suffered a lot of rejection along the way, and people not recognizing their work. Being an absolute genius and at the top of your tree requires a lot of rehearsal and work and repetition and showing up, often when you don't feel like it. But the thing is, you have to really remember that creativity is a God-given right for everybody. If you're human, you are creative. That's how it works. And our thoughts are creative. They're like little magnets. When we think something, we're going to attract more of that in, because these thoughts, they might feel like they're just passing by in consciousness, but those sweet little thoughts or angry little thoughts or negative little thoughts, they are the ones with the power. So give the power to goodness. Give the power to your positivity. Do not give your power to the negativity. Do not do that, because you're doing yourself a disservice and you're cutting the lines to your abundance, to your natural abundance. As humans, our resonance, our frequency, our vibration is directly affected by our thoughts, by our words, by our actions. This is written in all the great texts. All the great texts and wisdom from the ancient times to the modern times all say the same. Take care of what you think about. Take care of your words, your conduct. Set good intentions. One thing I learned when I went up out of my body was intentions are powerful. When you set an intention, the whole universe convenes to bring that in for you. It doesn't know if it's good or bad for you. That's up to you. But you gauge how you feel. If it feels good, it's going to take you in a good direction. If it feels bad, gossip, all this sort of thing, things that feel not very comfortable. These are your GPS system, your ability to judge what is draining you will kick in. So use that, notice that, be mindful of that. And this is another good reason to slow down, because when you slow down, you begin to notice which of your friends are pulling you up, which of your friends are pulling you down. Notice that and make good choices.
That is so, I'm over here, Susie, I'm over here shouting. I'm like, yes. I always talk about our levels of creation.
Yeah.
And how powerful our thoughts are. People do not understand that. I'm so glad you emphasized that.
We should be teaching every child in every school. If we're teaching them one thing, drop the algebra, drop the things they don't want to do, learning about, whatever it is that's not helpful. Teach them this consciousness, the power of prayer, the power of meditation, the power of slowing down, and the power of thoughts, actions, and words. If we just taught our kids that, job well done, really.
I'm telling you, yes. Let's drop history. Let's drop talking about the wars. Let's drop having them commit to memory the commanders and the
Yeah.
numbers. That is not good. What does that do for the soul? Nothing.
No, nothing.
I completely agree.
And drop exams. I mean, why put kids through exams?
Okay.
Awful.
My daughter said her teacher called them celebrations of knowledge, but he loves torturing them. Like, let's have a celebration of knowledge. And she's like, but no, yes, I agree. I have heard you say the three beautiful words, we are God. And I would love for you to expound on that, on your experience of us being God.
This happens to be on my desk right now because I'm rereading it for the millionth time. Three Magic Words. It's a very old book from U.S. Andersen. This is a book about the greatest idea in the world. So splendid a secret is revealed in just 3 words. An idea so simple, so startling, and so wonderful that it can start you on an adventure that will bring you everything you ever wanted. So the message in this book of 3 Magic Words is you are God. And we are God, because we've already said that you and I and we is one. So we are God. And very often, if we take the time to think about our consciousness and the incredible nature of consciousness and what goes on in our mental realms, conscious and unconscious, we begin to realize that it is so much bigger than the sum of the parts of, oh, that's Joanna, oh, that's Sarah. No, we are walking pieces of consciousness that are all connected in a wonderful fabric of geometry. So I think it's very useful to go into life with a spiritual awareness that we are part of this extraordinary system of nature, and that this nature is fundamentally held by God, and we are subject to the laws that exist. These are physical laws. If I drop something, there's gravity, all of these things, and the laws of nature, and the fact that the sun and the moon and the stars and all of these things move around in a system. So I think to bring awareness into our daily lives of the fact that we are God and we are parts. We are one system, and individually we are part of this big collective. And remembering that we are God allows us humility, humbleness, gratitude, and understanding that we have infinite power to bring into life. It's a wonderful knowingness. And also, when you get ill, it allows you to have faith that all is well. There's nothing, there's nothing to worry about. And I am living proof. Dying, if someone I know has someone who's died near them, close to them, I can't say, oh, I'm really sorry. I have to say they're in a great place. They're being looked after by God, and that I've died and I've come back to tell and share the story that it's beautiful. I was given a choice whether or not to come back. I came back because I have a son to look after, but otherwise I probably would have stayed because it's absolutely beautiful. Our concepts of death have been very modified by modern traditions, when in fact, we never die. We are infinite. Our bodies may cease and get a bit older and wrinklier and may give up at some point, probably will, but our spirit goes on ad infinitum. And that's a very beautiful and soothing thought. There is nothing to worry about in this life. The only thing we need to look at and care about is being kind and loving to each other, being good people, being compassionate to others, offering love first, going through the heart, and so on. And all of these things we can do when we remember that we are God.
I love it. I love it. I love all of the downloads that you have received. They are so, I'm just like, oh, yes. Susie, let us know what you're doing. Tell us how we can get your book. Tell us about your website and how you can be contacted, because I know people
Thank you.
reach you.
Thank you. I love it when people get in touch and they give me feedback on what I'm up to. So I'm doing a TEDx talk, which will go up on TEDx and TED.com, which is about my story and really about my near-death experience. So you can tune in. That's happening at the end of March. My website is susiepearl.com, and that holds everything: my podcasts, my books, my talks, events, and when I'm doing stuff online. So sign up, get my newsletter from my site, and then you'll be able to find out everything you need to know. And it's lovely. I mean, I'm all about community. I love building positive, loving communities. So if you'd like to join us, I would love that. Thank you.
Any last words of wisdom for the viewers before I do your closing remarks, Susie?
Thank you. I would like to say this time of being in your body now is a time for reverence and acknowledgement of the infinite power that we have, and to make good use of this life. It's a very precious, short period of time. Be kinder than you need to be, and fill this light timeline of your life with love and kindness, and do good things in the world, because that is why we are here, to help each other, to support each other, to give love to each other, particularly those who particularly need love. And there are many of those in the world. So be good and be kind, and lead with your heart. That's what I would say.
Oh, this has been an incredible time. A lot of wisdom. So there you have it. I'll put all of Susie's information, of course, in the description box. But I will also have her website in the bottom of the screen for people to reach out to and engage with this beautiful soul. Susie, I'm going to close us out with closing remarks. Susie, you have fierce courage and the wisdom of ascended masters in that small frame of yours. It is easy to sustain a high vibration when the same is reflected in others around us. But your ability to stand firm in your truth while surrounded by a sea of people ready to offer you their sympathy shows your incredible gift of having grit and a love of life. When I connect with your energy, I envision a light being leading the collective into the fifth dimension through love, wisdom, and joy. You have a mass of people following your powerful demonstration of how to walk through the fire, smiling on the inside and out. It is the energy of joy that carries us all through this beautiful journey of evolution, with paintbrushes in our hands and love in our hearts. So thank you for being here, Susie. Thank you for your brilliant light that you're shining. Thank you for your example, and thank you for joining us today with your presence. It's been an honor.
Likewise, for me also. Thank you so much, Loretta, for those beautiful words. And they've touched my heart deeply. Thank you.
Oh, good. That's the intention. So, Susie, we close out with a heart. All right. We love you. We love everyone who joined in and looked at this video. Leave your comments and likes and share and all that. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.
God bless you.